So I started this channel in anticipation of my family and I making an overseas move to South Africa. We were about to start a brand new adventure together as a family of four, and it was great. I built a mini ITX PC and documented my process, and that's the first video here on this channel was something that I could fit into my luggage to bring across the world with me. And little did I know at the time that that would eventually become the thing that I would spend the most time doing when I was in South Africa, which would eventually allow me to pick up a couple people here and a couple people there to the point where we got our own office and we became a team of 7 people working here at UFD Tech. Not only did we grow our team, but we grew our family as well. Our 3rd son was born in Johannesburg, South Africa, and it was such a great time. And then we obviously got the diagnosis of his rare genetic disorder, which then led to the unraveling of our life there. We had to sell everything as quickly as we possibly could to do an emergency flight back to the United States so that he could get treatment that he just couldn't get there. And it also meant that I had to let over half of my team go. But thankfully, because of you guys and your support, we didn't have to give up everything. I was able to keep a couple team members on board, and we even brought them over to the United States to start a new life here. They were gonna start this new journey with us. But then obviously at the beginning of 2020, COVID hit and the world changed and things got more difficult for everybody. For us, it meant that we had to actively avoid people because we have an immunocompromised child who, if he got COVID, would probably suffer greatly, not due to COVID, but due to his increase in seizures. And so we had to go on extra strict lockdown, which means that my team had to go on extra strict lockdown, which I can't thank Reese and Catlin enough for just the sacrifice that they made by coming over here and then not being able to build a life. But then to add on to that, last year, the President of the United States decided to ban work visas for anybody, and that meant that I had to send my team back. And now it's just me, which a lot of YouTubers are obviously singular entities, and it's not necessarily something that can't be overcome. It's just that within the last 2 years, I've experienced the unraveling of everything I was building towards, and it's led to a lot of difficult thoughts and difficult conversations of where do we go next? How do I keep this going? And how do I balance YouTube with everything that's going on behind the scenes? My son's condition hasn't really gotten better. It's only proceeded to either stay the same or get worse in a lot of areas. It seems like he is a really severe case of SYNGAP1, especially when it comes to his seizures. We have put him on, I think we're at 8 anti-epileptic medications that he's failed at this point. We have failed off of the keto diet. We have failed off of CBD. We have failed basically every opportunity that has been there to get some sort of control of his seizures. And so now we're looking at new things like brain surgery and severing the hemispheres and just all of the management that goes into having a rare disease child who's having hundreds of seizures a day and needs a level of care that is very difficult for anybody to really give him. Which brings us to the update video that I'm making right now. My family and I have to embark on another adventure where we are going to give up our support structure, our family, our friends, the life that we've built one more time, hopefully the last time, in order to move to a place that will be better suited to take care of our son, not just from a medical perspective, but also from an insurance perspective and a lifetime of care perspective. Because we've realized as we've been in the system and dealing with the minutia of everything that comes with spending hours and hours and hours on the phone with insurance agents and realizing that there's legislation in place that honestly can strip the right of our son to have a free and public education if we find out that the public school system isn't enough to support him, that we have to move to a place that has a better future for him. And so we will be moving from Florida to Pennsylvania to seek care for him at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia because they have a lot of the things that our son is going to need because he is such a severe case in his disorder. We need somebody who is extremely familiar with SYNGAP, and we have that at CHOP. We also need a state that has better insurance laws for the disabled, and thankfully Pennsylvania has that. And we also want to be around communities that are doing research on SYNGAP, and the charity stream that we did last year that we funded an actual study for SYNGAP is taking place at the University of Pennsylvania. It took a lot of research for us to come to this conclusion. It took a lot of convincing and realization that we have to give up our life here in order to move on to something that's better for our son. We have to leave our family behind. We have to leave our friends behind. We have to move on to a new adventure of restarting our life in order to take care of our son. And I am incredibly thankful for the opportunity that being a YouTuber gives me in order to be able to make this decision, because we get to choose where we're going to live. And thankfully my camera and whatever, I guess, tech stuff I want to cover can move with me there, but our families aren't going to move, our friends aren't going to move, and the life that we've built here isn't going to move. So we have to put a close to this chapter. And honestly, truth be told, as we've run in to these insurance problems, a lot of that stems from the fact that I'm self-employed, that I am making my living here on YouTube. And the sad reality is that my rights as a self-employed business owner here in the United States, I do not get treated the same as if I was an employee of a company when it comes to insurance legislation. I have to go through different loopholes that are harder, more expensive, and more complicated than if I was an employee on a different set of group plans. And what that ultimately means is that I'm not sure my future here on YouTube is the right one for my family. I love what I do. I love being a tech YouTuber. I love having the freedom and the opportunity to cover the tech stuff that I do, but at the same time, it's put my son at risk. But the sad reality is that insurance laws in the United States, by and large, are just really terrible for self-employed people and for the disabled. And it's a struggle that we have to go through every single day, which now cues the comments of people saying, hey, move to my country that has universal healthcare, or hey, move to my country that has a single payer healthcare system, which is great in theory, but after being somebody who's lived overseas and moved overseas, the emotional, the financial, the just logistical stress of being an expat is not feasible for our family, our situation. Additionally, we need people who are incredibly familiar and incredibly good at their job. And on top of that, we need doctors who are world class. We need doctors who are at the top of their game, who are into research on SYNGAP, who are actively participating in things that SYNGAP Research Fund is doing. And the truth is, a lot of those people are here in the United States. So leaving the country wouldn't actually help us, because we would lose access to a lot of stuff that we benefit from by being here in the United States. Just ultimately means that in the back of my mind, I need to be considering, is this the right path forward for us? And I'm going to do my best to try to keep it going. I'm going to do my best to try to make it happen. And because of you all, I've been able to keep it going thus far, but there might come a day where that's no longer the case and I can't keep doing it. But obviously, as much of a struggle as this year has been, I've been just so thankful for the support that you guys have given us, for everybody who's bought our merch, who supported us on Patreon or Floatplane. It has meant the world to us. Everybody who subscribes, likes, comments, your support has carried us through. It's allowed us to keep going. And in case you want to support us on this transition to Pennsylvania, we'll have links in the description for our merch, our Patreon, our Floatplane. It does help to keep things going, because the only way I can overcome insurance obligations is to just pay for things out of pocket, which you guys help us to do. And so over the next few weeks, things are going to be radically different for us. We have rented a house sight unseen in Pennsylvania, and we just have to trust that everything is going to work out. The set is going to change. My ability to make videos is going to change. Everything is going to be completely different in my life, and I will do my best to continue to make videos, but I don't exactly know how I'm going to get it all done amongst everything that's going on. I'm excited for this next adventure. I really appreciate everybody who's been there for us. I look forward to the day that the research that's being funded through SYNGAP Research Fund pays off. There is some sort of treatment for our son, and I no longer have to make these videos. And he can have a bright and vibrant future, because I'm so thankful that we live in an age where treatment can happen. Genetic therapy is something that we are on the cusp of. And as hard as every day is, I know that the only way out is through. And the pain of seeing my son suffer every day and seeing him have hundreds of seizures, I'm hoping and I'm believing will be eclipsed by the day where he finally gets genetic treatment and all of the things I know he's capable of will start coming into fruition. And I'm really holding on to that. The hope of the future is definitely keeping me going. And I thank you all for allowing me to even have the future that I'm living in right now, because 18 months ago when we were deciding to come back from South Africa, I didn't see how it was going to work out. I didn't know how we were going to be able to do everything that we needed to. And you guys proved to me that I'm not alone. And for that, I'll forever be grateful. So expect different videos. Expect things to be changing, but I'll see you in the next video, friends. Cheers.